hear from him in presence of the residents, telling us and the country what is materially different between this regeneration program, the affordable housing and the social housing, so we don't mix issues. If we are dealing with regeneration, then how different is it from the affordable housing thing? Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. And Governor, perhaps for the benefit of senators particularly, and also the residents in general, should you have any other copies that you'll be referring to for this particular session? Just in case if you have, it will be in order to perhaps share with the senator at these points that as you make references, you can be able to refer to them as well. Governor, it's your time.
Thank you very much, Chairman and Senators, and of course, my esteemed residents of Nairobi. Chair, I'll give a brief background. First of all, you've asked about documents. The documentation is, I presume, the same that we had given before, that is with you. I'll not make any reference to anything else apart from just history, which I know of. These are estates, thank you for the water, that we have known, we have lived in, we have relatives who are part of this residence. And so this is something that is very important to all of us as the people of Nairobi. Chairman, the 5 estates that are mentioned are part of many more estates that Nairobi County Government owns and intends to improve through our urban regeneration and urban renewal program. These estates were built right from the 1930s. If you look at Ziwani Estate, started, the blueprint was in 1939, and it was the lead architect and consultant there was one G. Fletcher. It was one of the first African decent housing settlements in the city. Before that, Africans were staying in squalor and in really terrible conditions, as has become the case now in many parts of the city and many of our urban areas. Jericho is also one that is historic from the 1950s. It's an estate that has produced a lot of Kenyan heroes. The first person to raise our flag, hoist it on Mount Kenya, Kisoi Munyao. We've had Napunyi, the boxer. We've had Barack Obama Sr. and many of these people, who lived there. And you'll find the remnants of the history, because the nature of these estates, and the residents will tell you, is that a lot of these houses are passed on through the family. So you'll find a child, an uncle leaves it to a nephew, and that is the case as it is in all of them. Woodley, and I can see my friend representing Woodley here, was started by Sir Richard Woodley, who was a councillor, rather named after Sir Richard Woodley. Again in the 1940s, that one housed more of our senior staff of the city council. It was a bit more affluent, the kind of houses you had there have more space. More land. There were initially 300 tenants at Woodley, which is why the development we're doing, phase 1 is called 300 Woodley. And I can go on and on about all of those. Jericho, of course, is named after a prominent Kenyan politician who was assassinated, Ambrose Ofafa, during the clamor of independence, And Mbotela was also murdered at the same space at Bama, which was later torched. The idea at that time was to create conflict between communities and to make the Western communities, that is Luyas and Luos, blame the Mau Mau for those murders. And so as I close that, at that time, a lot of work went on. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, together with Tomboya, would go around Makongeni and these estates preaching peace, telling people don't react, don't respond, and we go to our independence. Now, the urban renewal program that we have, its essence is, first of all, in line with the intention, the original intention of these estates was to provide housing to Nairobians. Our population has, of course, gone up. These estates won't fill the population gap, definitely, but it'll reduce pressure in many of these areas. And the example I can give is Woodley, where the first phase of 43 units are giving way to 1,975 units. You know, there are 1,975 families who will be able to have a decent house and an apartment with all the amenities that come together with it. They're all at different stages of development. In Woodley, we were able to bring down the houses, and the site has been secured. The residents had gone to court opposing. And I understand when you live somewhere for so long, your